so I'm here today to present to you 3 improbable truths. Number 1, we all have a future as humanity. Number 2, Vancouver is leading the charge in making this happen. And number 3, there's something you can do about it. So on the first point, how much of the GHGs that there are can we eliminate? The answer is 85%. How do we eliminate them? By replacing our energy economy. The last 15% is our land use. The 85% is energy technologies that have gone to fossil fuels. We can create 3 fuel cell cars per second. Johnson Matthey has this capability. We can create 6 per second if you count for the entire world. What is the problem? The problem is that fuel cell cars are not economical. Battery cars are worse. You have been indoctrinated by Elon Musk. So, in the last decade, fuel cell cars and related technologies for backup power have come down by 60%. The Department of Energy in the United States was on the cusp of pulling the trigger on the energy economy of the future. And they were going to do it on November 20th. So you know what happened? You know what happened. So, you can have fuel cell cars at 40 cents per liter. That's the Department of Energy numbers. You can look them up online. You can have that for half of that in 10 years because we are making fuel cell cars that have no limitations. The limitations right now are precious metals. My company, Ionomer Innovations Inc., makes ion exchange membranes developed at Simon Fraser University by Stephen Holdcroft, the membrane god of the world. There's only 2 in the world that are left. There were 10 years ago, but they're down to 2. And we've made 2 30-year advances in the field. Number 1 is anion exchange membranes, which you can boil in drain cleaner, and they survive. Number 2 is a new type of proton exchange membrane, the current generation of fuel cell cars, which can stand up to enough radicals to fry bacon. And it can do it at 100 degrees Celsius. In fact, it can do it at 300 degrees Celsius. So we hit a lot of the goals of the fields that have been there since the Gemini program. Yes, that's right. We've been using the same materials since the 1960s. So the first, I say it's a 30-year advance. It's really a 60-year advance. So that's the first point. Our future is not screwed. Number 2. Vancouver is leading the charge, and that's thanks to Ballard Power Systems, the revolving door that is Ballard Power Systems. They have turned $2 billion into $100 million of great company. And after 120 quarters of failure, they have made a profit in this last quarter. So you know what? They have inspired dozens of companies that are all worth more than $100 million, funny enough, including Zincnix Power Systems. And they, right now, are competing with Elon Musk's $550 per kilowatt hour backup power systems for $15 per kilowatt hour. That will be the backup power that will save the future because solar is heading to 2 cents kilowatt hour. The chief engineer of General Electric says we're heading for 3 cents kilowatt hour air. We will have next to free energy, and these backup power systems will set the bar, and they're all coming out of Vancouver. I am not joking. And my company will play into this by giving proton and anion exchange membranes into these technologies, which fundamentally enable them to last 3 to 20 times longer. And so this brings the final cost of fuel cell cars in the future from roundabout triple, which is about the same as battery cars, subsidies have screwed with your minds here, to less than that of combustion engines. And we're not joking about this. So the current generation, less than combustion engines, the next generation, half of combustion engines. So this is all very, very buried in journals, but we can bring this forward by talking to these scientists. There are tons of them in Vancouver. We are literally the world hub of advanced electrochemical research, and literally nobody knows about this. Our government barely knows about it, and they're paying for it. So the third point of this is that there is something you can do about this. Number 1, you can get people excited about fuel cell technologies. People are very bitter because of Ballard, but that was 20 years ago. Get over it. Number 2, you can talk to our Minister of Technology in BC. They had a fantastic idea in the last government. They gave money to companies that were starting out. Every single last federal and provincial government has given money to venture capitalists, and venture capitalists are in the job of creating more venture capitalists. Early companies are in the job of commercializing technologies and making things that drive the future. And also, you can support Sustainable Development Technology Canada, the $300 million fund that nobody's heard of. They support early stage technology ventures that are saving the future. We have the best clean technologies coming out of Canada literally because of this technology, and the US was second to us, and then they killed all their funding. So you know what? We're number one by a clear margin in biological hydrogen generation. We're number one in many, many of these areas thanks to this, this program. We may be number 10 in the world as far as direct financing of early stage technology companies, but we're number one in terms of clean technologies, and thanks to this fund. So you can write Navdeep Bains, our Minister of Technology federally, and you can get on board with whoever our new premier is and the Prime Minister. So you can help, and I'm not even joking. Every one of your letters will count as 100,000 votes because literally nobody knows of these programs. But now you do, okay? The onus is on you to save the future. Thanks very much.